What up, everybody? We're back with another Eternal Evolution video, and as promised, we're going to be tackling the 3 early bosses that unlock for you: the Marsh, the Dessa Caves, and the Terra Dome. So in this video, I'm going to put big emphasis on 3 early game characters that you can unlock and farm pretty high up that can help you speed through this. We're also going to hint at a current campaign that you should definitely be putting your attention on. That'll also help you build up a really strong 5-man team to start off, take care of these bosses, and build up your 3 progression paths. It's going to be your commanders, your gear, and your prototypes, which are very important. But we're going to get into all of that in this video. But as usual with these videos, I am not the arbiter of everything that is true and right with this game. I just started a month ago. This is me sharing my experience, how I climbed what I think is pretty quickly all the way to the higher levels of these bosses. So if you are a veteran player, let me know in the comment section below if we missed anything, or if there are better non-SSS characters that new players can invest heavy in to push these bosses. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so here we are looking at our 3 bosses, and first things first, I want to recommend like 3 main characters that you can get very early that you should try and evolve as quickly as possible, and put some resources in. Maybe not all the resources, but definitely some. And that's going to be Tony the Tiger, aka Taylor, Battle Angel, aka Serena, and then Genji, aka Artis. Now, that last one is a little particular. Look, he's an okay tank. He does okay damage, but you're not going to use him long term. You're just not. He's not a great character. He's just better than the tanks you can get early because he does pump out a little bit of damage. For your 4th and your 5th, we're going to talk about some sneaky 5th characters that we're going to have here for the Marsh and the Caves. And then for your 4th character, there's no other way around it. You need a good SSS character. Whether that be an awesome melee character like Crete or a super powerful energy character like Emma, which is what I have, you need somebody who's going to be pumping out insane damage working around our mechanics that we're going to have to do here. Because for some of this, in the early game, you're not going to have enough resources to do the exclusive system, the talent system, to match what the proper strategy characters needed for each mode are. So we're going to talk about that, but those are our base 3. So we got Taylor, Serena, and Artis. Get them going, and you should be able to go deep into the boss levels, if you will. Let's quickly talk about the rewards from each boss, because some bosses are more important than others. This Marsh with this commander, like, this is very important, but you get this pretty early. I believe you get this at level 9 is when it switches to red. Yeah, so if you could just power up to level 9 as quickly as possible and get your red commanders, then you're kind of okay there, but obviously if you can push further into the Marsh, do that. But like the commanders, once you get one, you're kind of okay. Trying to farm them to min-max, I think, is going to be like an end game kind of thing we're worried about. So I wouldn't put too much stock into that. Obviously, these advanced tickets are nice, and the material beside her, on the other side of her, that's going to be just is going to be to level your commanders up. Then we got the Dessa Caves. This is where I saw my biggest jump in content. Once I started farming the Dessa Caves at a higher level, and I was able to get this white gear. So let's see where that white gear starts at. It starts at 10, but there's a 0 to 1% chance. If we get to 12, then it's a 1. And then if we get, not 0 to 1% chance, you can get 0 or 1 pieces. There's a chance of that. So there's a chance you get 0. If we go up here, there's a chance you get 1. And once we get to 13, there's a chance that you'll always get at least 1 piece. I used, I think, like 80 of these stamina charges once I was able to get to this level here, and I was able to deck out a majority of my roster in gear. Not the proper primary stats on the bottom 3 rungs, but enough that it made a huge difference. So you do kind of want to rush the Dessa Caves, I think. And now I guess we talked about the rest of it. You get these red hammers that you use to actually level your gear. You get these blue tickets, which this is the worst tickets out of these 3 bosses. You just use these to pull characters so that you can build them up to feed them to other things. Like those are the feeder characters. And then the Terra Dome, which is what I'm farming now. We got the divine prototypes. There's a whole system around divine prototypes, collecting them, enhancing them so that you get roster-wide benefits. But the divine prototypes themselves are also super impactful in how your matches are going to play out. So getting those, the good ones, is very important. We have those advanced tickets there, which is nice. And then we got the resources used to level your divine prototypes. Okay, with that out of the way, let's quickly go in. I'm going to show you what I'm doing to the bosses to kind of get through them. And we'll start with the Marshes, which, and we're going to flip again. We're going to start with the Marshes. Let's go. So here we are at the marsh, and you see that I am on difficulty 15 right now. I've not actually cleared 15 though. I've just cleared 14 this morning. Very sketchy. We'll try and recreate that magic. But if we go over here to the strategy button in the top left corner, we're going to see some suggested characters, and you'll see some early characters that you got access to. So Serena down here, you can get right away, which is nice. She is a multi-hitting character. She's good because she's going to help us kill spiders very quickly in this boss fight. We'll talk about spiders when we actually get in the match. Unfortunately, I only have her at evolution yellow, level yellow, which just doesn't cut it at these higher levels. You need to have them high. I have my Emma is the character I chose to invest in the most out of the SSS class. No regrets, as you're about to see. She is a constant fourth for me. You're going to need to find a character, an SSS character, build them up because the damage is just, it's on another level, as we're going to see. But we got Senway here. He is going to be my fifth character. He's kind of the secret sauce that helped me get through difficulty 14. And then you'll see some earlier characters that you can get. We got Omar. We got, I believe that guy's name is Orn. And we got the Red Dragon. These are trash characters. Now, they might be good enough to help you get up to level 9. But after that, oh my god, are they bad. You don't want to put any exclusive material into them, I don't think. You can reset talents, you could reset gear, so feel free to put that in on them to push this boss difficulty as much as possible. But let's get in there. I'll show you the team I use, and unfortunately for this match, guys, I kind of just rely on RNG to make it work. So I got Arctis in the front. He's going to go ahead and tank that boss for me. I got Serena and Senway on the right side. I got Emma and Tony on the left side. Let's get in there. We'll talk about some RNG. I'm not actually going to complete this match because I only have one ticket left for the rest of the day. But another thing I want to talk about is the abilities here. So from our core, we have Taylor and we got Serena, and we got their ults turned off of auto. The reason for that is because Taylor will kill himself and Serena will waste her heal at a bad time. So we got to turn that off. And then we got Senway, Emma, and Arthas just kind of doing their thing whenever they want. So there are some moments of RNG. The first phase of this fight is literally just to pop that egg. Then we get some summons. Now that summon from Senway in the front is not ideal. You kind of want that summon to be in the back to tank some spiders, as we're about to see. So I'm going to make Tony the Tiger here jump. See, I did not, if he was on auto, he would have vaulted backwards. And that's right there. Okay, so we got bad RNG here. Those eggs spawning in the back left is going to be bad. So what's going to happen is they're going to explode. I also just wasted the Serena heal, which is not great. They're going to explode, do insane damage. But after that, they're also going to summon out these spiders. Now, these spiders are going to quietly creep forward. And as soon as they reach you, it's donezo. They're just going to explode. So what can I do here to... Because they're going to kill my Emma. The reason we want them to spawn at the bottom or the bottom right, where they just spawn now, is because now they're not going to go for Emma. You know what? It doesn't look like these ones are actually going to go for Emma. So maybe we can still pull this off. Let's pop Serena's heal. And we'll see if Emma can carry us with this last ult. It looks like she will. And there we go. So we had bad RNG. We were still able to get through it. It looked like in the end, Senway did actually tank for us. That's great. And I was not supposed to finish that matchup. So I no longer have stamina to the other two bosses. To the store I go. All right. Well, now that we dealt with that technical difficulty, see, I got a bunch more. I didn't even have to buy them because I have this amazing campaign event open today. And I can't believe I didn't do that. I got to do a video on that next because it's crazy generous what these campaign events do for new players in particular. And there's a trap you don't want to fall into. Just make sure you're getting more SSS characters involved. I digress. Here we are now at the Dessa Caves. And again, we're going to use our three core characters. We got Serena, Tony the Tiger, and Atlas. I'm going to use Emma here. What I will say, and I'm just we're doing a little cross-contamination here. There's a character in that campaign you can get called Old John. He won't replace Emma's damage, but he's an okay substitute for her, and he's not SSS. You can get him right now in that campaign. So if you're going to farm anyone in there, I do think him and Senway are very, very good. We saw Senway in the last boss, but I digress. We're now taking on the Dessa Caves. If we look at the strategy, we're going to see a bunch of characters that they think are good for this. You see my girl Emma's right there. She certainly is. And the big boss mechanic here is that he's going to put a shell on himself and you need to take him out. Now, this one I think is very important. I don't know where I left off. At difficulty 10 is where the white gear starts, but really difficulty 13 is where you want to reach so that you're getting 1 to 2 pieces. And past that, I think you're just getting more of the red hammer. Yeah, you're just getting more of the red hammer, which helps you upgrade your gear faster. It's worth it. If you could push further, then absolutely do that. But if you don't have Emma, I'll show you how this plays out first, because this is actually a very interesting juxtaposition, if you will. So I will use Emma here, and I have Old John. We're not going to actually play this through. We're just going to get to the first transition, and we'll go from there. So if you look at the boss's health pool, you see those 3 white lines. Those lines are transitions where he's going to phase, and then you got to deal with the phase. So because I have Emma, I actually have her turned off, and she's going to kind of save the day for me here. So as soon as it gets near that white line, I'm going to hit her ultimate. And the second it pushes, she immediately gets her ultimate back, as do all of my characters. And you see we start whittling down that shield. That was very close to me losing. Now you see this bug here. This bug does not start at the lower difficulties. I believe it pops in maybe 3 difficulties below where I'm at, 3 or 4 difficulties below where I'm at. So you won't have to deal with this for a while, but this one will be tough for you if you don't have a character like Emma, or a character that has an ultimate that you can use to hard target it and kill it. Because this bug basically heals the boss, and the more it heals it, well, you'll get further behind, and you won't be able to actually kill the boss if you can't deal with that thing in a orderly time. And then you also get your ultimate back right away for doing that. And as you see, we're going to be just fine so long as we can keep doing those transitions where you pop the shell. If you don't pop the shell, you simply die. I'm actually going to let that happen here. So let me go ahead and just get him to do it. And then we can see the difference if you don't have a character like Emma when she ults and it hits for a bazillion times. Like it hits, I don't know, 10 times or something like that, breaking that shield for you. So these are 3 like hunters is what they're called. And you can see they get real close. They get to 1, but they get smacked down, and that's not good. So I do have kind of a secret character. He's not really a secret character. He's just a character that I found really helps you break through that shell, and you're going to absolutely see a difference. I'll take Old Man John out for this one. Let me go ahead and throw in Kalazazua, and that is going to be our secret weapon for this boss. And let's get in there, and let's make it happen. And you know what? Just to show the difference, I will not use the Emma ult during the transition. Let's just get it to that point, and then we'll see the difference that he makes. Because his summons, they auto-attack very quickly, and he can have up to, I believe, 3 at any time. So when they're doing their auto-attacks, the bosses, look at this shield, they're just melting. So I'm not going to do her second ultimate. It barely made it 3/4 through. How crazy is that? So I love that character to help kind of make this boss a little bit of a joke. And this is why I was able to climb through the game so quickly, because you definitely get the biggest bump early game just by having that increase in gear. So the further you can get your gear, the further you can kind of leap through content. It's literally brought me from beating hard bosses, struggling to one-shot them, to now beating hell bosses and one-shotting them. In the current campaign, I one-shot the hell difficulty level boss, and I thought that was absolutely bonkers. And the difference really was the gear. And of course, the evolutions I've gotten since 2 weeks ago, the last campaign, I'm sure. But here we go, and let's see. Now we will use Emma's ult at the same time, and watch how fast the shield goes away now. We got 2 summons out. Didn't even make it halfway. Absolutely crazy. I love that character for this mode. He's pretty easily farmable. He also you can get in the current campaign right now, but I'm not sure. Well, I mean, just to get the unlock, maybe you want to do it, but no, you really want to focus in on certain characters, like specific characters one at a time, especially in the early game, so you can get them to that immortal level with no shards filled in. Or maybe you want to do it so you fill in all 5 shards. That's what I'm doing now, because it does seem to be a nice little stat bump there as well. But yeah, so that's going to be the Dessa Caves. I'm actually going to cancel this out because I don't need the gear right now. Though when I get my next, there's multiple modes, multiple teams you need for certain modes, so I'm definitely going to have to get more gear in the future. I will be coming back here to tackle this. I do want to quickly talk about something that they just added today, and that's these 3 new levels of difficulty. I cannot scratch that. But I thought this was really cool because in adding this, they also added new sets of gear. And that's something I really like about these developers so far, is they're constantly evolving the game. You know, pun intended, or that's not a pun, but reference intended, I guess. So I really like how the developers are doing that. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the last of the first boss fights. All right, so here we are at the Terra Dome, and as you'll see, unfortunately, this is the boss that I have progressed the least in. Now, this is the hardest boss in this area to get unlocked. Like, you unlock this guy long after you unlock the Dessa Caves. So I think you're supposed to progress it slower. But a big problem for me, if we look at the strategy here, I don't have any of these characters built. The one I do, the assassin right beside Crete there, is trash. And we're going to see that. So let's get in there. And I am actually actively farming this boss. So I'll go ahead and I'll put 10 stamina on it. And we kind of showed this in the last video, but this is a prime example of how autoing is kind of bad sometimes. And I like that because it means not only are you needing to put strategy in the team that you're putting out there, but you also sometimes need to control the ultimates to make sure it works. Like you saw in the last one as well, I was controlling Emma's ult, so she wasn't spamming it. And in the spider lady, I was using the Serena ult, so she wouldn't just spam it. So there is some actual gameplay here as well. But I also don't have to farm this 10 times to use up all the stamina. I just have to do it the one time and put the 10 charges on it. So I really like what they're doing with bosses in this game. I like how there's so many of them. All right, so let's go ahead and throw Tony the Tiger into that blue area here. And we've seen this, so we can fast forward through this. But basically now, just watch Tony Tiger's damage. You see that Assassin's doing awful. Tony takes 2 shots. He's now lapped the closest damage dealer, and the boss is starting to melt. So yeah, let's fast forward from here until the next phase. All right, so we just phased the boss. He knocks us all back, throws us at the beginning, then he summons some bombs. If you're at the early difficulties, you're not going to see 4 bombs. I think you see 2 at first, then 3, and then finally 4. Maybe there's 5 when I get to difficulty 14 and 15. I don't know. These bombs are very easy to beat. They don't seem to be the same kind of mechanical check as the shell in the Dessa Caves was, where it one-shots you, or the spiders where they one-shot you. It's pretty forgiving. I've beaten this even after not killing all those bombs. I think I left 2 of those bombs up once when I was climbing through the difficulties, and I didn't die to it. Oh, Tiger, we need you out of there. You need to jump out of there, buddy. You're gonna die. Nice. He gets one-shot by that. I don't know why, but he gets one-shot by that, and I don't like it. Anyway, guys, that's going to be our 3 bosses. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you in climbing. Yes, I needed these. I needed these flowing runes, and I needed these prying eyes, and I always need these advanced recruitment tickets. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you climb for these 3 initial bosses. In the next video, we are going to talk about the campaign that's currently running. It's going to be a little bit of fun, a little bit of information for you. But right now, what I would say is if you're playing the game, make sure you run through the campaign, get all your raffles. You want to sweep the hardest boss you possibly can, but don't use your raffles yet, because if you're a new player, you might be tempted to keep refreshing the prize pool, and that's bad. And we'll talk about why in the next video. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.